Good evening. Welcome to your Ass Hurts News Network, coming to you live from the tip top of Cock Tower with your host, Sergeant Friday, and special guest, the one and only, the Dago.
The
Sarge,
Dago. The Dago.
the Dago. Where'd the day go?
The Dago rented space
Yeah,
at Lick of My Balls Convention Center. You can find Dago hosting a party.
Yeah, forget about it. What's happening? I can't fucking deal with your music.
What's wrong with our music?
I love it. That's perfect. I've never heard it before. That's great.
It goes with the Lick of My Balls studio.
It absolutely does. It's a beautiful building you have there. I love that. And you're at the very top of the tip of that cock tower, huh?
Yep, just the tip.
That's all that matters.
Well, it is where the most information spills from.
Always. And sometimes, depending on how important the information is, it shoots right out of there. You know what I mean?
Could be in a hurry. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it might. So on to better news. So what do we have tonight, there, Cletus? Any specific thing that you had an interest in us showing?
Say that again.
Did you have an interest in us showing something? Can you set up the topic of the fucking moron Dolly Vision? Some dude with the name fucking Dolly.
Yeah, the self-proclaimed idiot. He calls himself that on his stream quite often, and people fucking flock to it by the thousands. And I don't know, he did something real interesting the other day. I've always claimed that he is very much a transparent individual, but I'd never quite seen him be as transparent as he was the other day when he was talking about Tony Mathis, this new PR spokesperson for Seth Rogers, Sebastian's father. And he tells quite the story about why he thinks Tony's a bad idea. And it
wouldn't have anything to do with it not benefiting these lunatic fucking streamers, would it?
Well, he don't really give a fuck about the streamers. He gives a fuck about his pocketbook at the end of the day, which he's always owned. But the thing that's just amazing to me is the fact that people flock to it. Just fucking flock to it.
It is utterly amazing. I think though that over time we'll change that. But let's play an excerpt from the one and only Dolly Vision.
All right.
Or adapt to help parents versus spokesperson, as there will be another set of parents who will want help for their missing loved ones. CBC, I said it last night. We want to throw gasoline on this case. We want it to explode. We don't want to stifle the fire. We want to stoke it. We want it blazing. This dude is a bucket of water. Okay, Tony, you just a big ass bucket of water, bro. Get the hell away. Get away, Tony, before it ends bad. Okay?
You can
Tony, trust me. Just say it. Get the hell out of Dodge. Just get out. If you don't listen to anybody, listen to an idiot. Okay? When an idiot tells you run, you better run. You better run. Okay? I'm just letting you know. Just letting you know. I hate to be the one to tell you. You got to hear it from an idiot. But look, dude, hey.
That's good.
You better get back to your case that's popping off in Texas, right? Or whatever.
This guy he takes moronism to a whole new fucking height. Why does he need to have this afire and Sebastian or Seth doing what Seth has been doing?
Because it creates the drama that sells. I mean, look at the fucking look. I'm telling you, it's insanity. It's insanity.
And it's the viewer's fault. The viewers create assholes like this. Now, this guy would have been a loser asshole wherever he went in life, right? But the internet has given him the ability to be a public loser asshole and create tragedy within a tragedy to enrich himself or to at least earn an income from it or earn any money. It's money motivated. And this piece of shit actually has, and I'm literally, when I tell you this guy is a piece of shit, he's got 56,000 fucking morons following him. 56,000 losers. that think what he's doing and promoting and trying to push the hate and division between parents that lost a fucking child, it seems okay. You sick bastards. Dago?
Thank you, Sarge. I gotta say that I'm really the statement about we want to throw gas on this case. That's disappointing. That's very disappointing because that tells me, in a sense, that you want this to be, you want the drama, you want that, and you're prolonging. I can't even think of how I'm trying to say it because it irritates me so bad. It's ridiculous to say something like that. Go ahead. Sorry. Back to you.
I have breaking news. Live from the news desk, Dago appears to be wearing a tie. Read it.
I'm a guest.
I think we should all wish Dago a happy anniversary, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not under the delusion that he wore a tie to join us on Cock Tower, although, people's preferences are their own.
My condolences to your wife.
I will pass that on. Thank you. I wanted to make a good impression. I'm a special guest on this awesome show, so
Well, I think that the chat just gave a genius idea. That the chat is the chatter themselves are claiming to be genius. That we'll discuss at a later date, the Wanda Life. But they want to have a ladies' night and have all these women come up here. What do you think, Cletus? Do you think can we manage that many women at once?
Well, I mean, you do have the Queen of Moderation, and I do see her name in that list. So
you can handle it. You can handle it.
Okay, so we'll have to consider that. So back to the fucking Dolly Vision. This guy, hey, look I don't begrudge anybody earning an income, and if you could do it with social media, I think that's awesome. But if you're going to do it by creating tragedy, where a tragedy is attracted, you were attracted to a car crash, and you went over there and brought your gas can to start a fire that wasn't there, and now you're telling people that you want it to burn even hotter. This is one sick dude, and he's one of many. I went after harsh reality today. This guy's on the track that the preacher that lost his wife to suicide is ruled and publicly put forward by the medical examiner. Okay, arguing that this guy may be involved in her death, or even he calls them suggestions, and everything should be discussed. No, not when you're accusing a husband that just lost his wife to suicide of being involved in her death. That isn't fucking worthy of being discussed. Cletus?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, what their marital problems were or weren't is nobody's fucking business at the end of the day. It's been declared she's the one that did what she created the situation that occurred. Whatever her motivations were are really of no concern to the public. And to capitalize and financially gain from doing that is fucking sick.
Well, here's another thing. I'm going to take this guy down because there's just something ain't right about the guy. So I can't have him on our screen. I think Cock Tower feels violated, maybe almost raped, So we must remove. We don't want our Cock Tower raped by some dude named Dolly. Okay.
He's the most excited looking middle-aged man I've ever seen, though, in that freeze frame.
Super excited. You think he just won $1 million?
I would say he's looking at the fucking number of new members he had at that given moment and was thinking, hell yeah, Dolly gonna eat.
Yep.
Now, you know something? For some reason, I'm wondering why this won't open, this image that you sent me. It opened. You got to download it first? Well, I did, and it doesn't seem to want to open here, Cletus. We're having technical difficulties, folks, so I turned the floor over to Cletus and Dago.
Well, I can explain what it was, and it's probably for the best to not present it. But basically, it's his thumbnail from his live last night, and it literally says, Mr. Pissy Pants. And it has an arrow pointing from that phrase to the missing child. And I forget the view count on it, but you know, it's just one of those things where it's like at some fucking point, when are people going to use the sense that they've got and ignore the outrage fucking vendors that exist out here? And you know, I mean, that thumbnail is purposely to get people's attention, and you're going to go into it because you're either pissed off about it or because you're like, ooh, he's bringing more fucking drama for us to feed from tonight. And it's
Right.
like,
And, you know,
go ahead.
there's a catch-22 to what we're doing. And I'm aware of it. I don't think anybody else probably isn't. But here's the catch-22. Unfortunately, when I say it, you guys your bulb's going to go off your head. You know it, but you just probably haven't spoken. Okay. But just by simply talking about this guy could get him followers. That's how fucked up
Undoubtedly.
the world is. Even though we're in here pointing out that this fucking lunatic is out here talking shit knowingly, intentionally, and wants to continue to do it more and more and more so he can earn more money. He's not out, you know, this is exactly the kind of streamer people pretend to complain about, but then people go and lick his asshole for, right? And so he's one of many, many people like that out there. The Terry Lynn's of the world, that big fat butthole Betty, and all of these lunatics out here. It's tragedy, and it's almost unimaginable that people would accept this and allow themselves to become part of it.
Well, I look at it as their channels are just sort of their individual corrals for the zombies, right? Because they keep coming fucking back to that body to feed from every day.
I got a question. I mean, that was, if we remember right, Seth called in and was very happy to be talking to Dolly, and that's Seth's son. That's okay with you to put that up there and say that your son is Mr. Pissy Pants, the child that you're looking for right now that's missing? I mean, where's the morality with that?
It's a bitter insult to the. I think that came out in something that had been said by the stepfather or mother or somebody had mentioned that the kid had issues with that, right?
It was.
And so for him to put that up on his screen like that, he's just a filthy little fucking pig, that kid.
There's no morality.
Morality, it's the opposite of morality. He's a filthy fuck that wants clicks, and he's willing to say and do anything to get clicks, even at the expense of these people's hearts and their souls. They lost their child. And for anybody on the internet to be accusing these people of involvement, need their fucking head examined. Or, God forbid, something like this happens in your family and your YouTube buddies start examining you like they did everyone else. Like now they're going after that preacher. They went after Chris. They went after the hospital worker. They went after the policeman that dealt with Donna. They went after the surviving guy from a drug overdose at a party. They went after that guy. All you fucking people do out here, you viewers are the issue, the big issue, because you flock to this kind of happy horse shit. Like it's something positive to be doing with your time. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. And 5.62 billion fucking maniacs online. And we're going to try to beat them down with one swing of the bat for each one.
Disgusting. It's really, really disgusting.
Take down. Now you sent me a private message. I don't know what you mean.
Oh, you already did it. I was just telling you to flip your
change up. To change it up.
Yep, that was all.
Yep, I try.
My apologies.
No, that's cool. I don't mind being reminded. I'm new to this shit, man. I like I said, my original streaming started in 15 or 16. It was private.
Right.
Cletus?
Yes, sir. More to come, Sarge. More to come.
I'm telling you, I'm getting excited over here. Kimber's talking about.
Wait, sorry, you got breaking news from the health desk.
Oh,
okay.
Bear
with us. We have to get to the. Here it comes. The new one. Breaking news from the help desk. Miss McClue at the help desk has breaking news, not to be mistaken as a first and last name, although it should be. Whoop.
Did you know there's enough semen in one man to impregnate every woman on earth who is fertile?
Huh. I've been trying for the longest time, and I haven't accomplished the goal of every woman. However, what do you say? Things go on. What do you say there, Cletus?
What do I say?
Yeah, when you got nothing to say, you'll say things will continue on. What do you say?
More to come, Sarge.
More to come. That's more to come. That's it.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So as morally bankrupt as I am, common sense wins the day, in that we need to start pointing out to each other. This has to stop. The
Agreed.
division amongst ourselves. We do it ourselves to ourselves. It's incredible.
Well, in my opinion, I'm sorry, but you gotta look at a title like that on a channel and ask yourself, at least I should say, do I want to go watch that? Think about that.
The first time you hear them attacking the parents, I mean, if you don't have the decency and the respect, right? If someone that you hate is your friend's husband and he dies, but you hate the guy and you always did, don't you show that person respect?
Absolutely.
Or do you start talking about what kind of an asshole he was and try to get other people engaged in that conversation? This is why I hated him. Glad he's dead. I mean, that's basically what people are doing on the internet.
Common decency doesn't seem to exist anymore.
Oh, I'm gonna try to download that picture anyway, because it is. Should I do it as a link? How should I do that there, Cletus?
I'm getting excited over here. I'm looking up this. Kimber's talking about goat yoga, and I want to join her in it. I want to check that out.
What the hell is goat yoga?
I don't know. I have a fucking clue, but I want to try it out. Let's do this.
More to come, Sarge. More to come.
The goats walk on you while you're in your roses.
Oh.
I'm gonna see if I can. Can I open that up in a link, Cletus?
I don't know. I literally copied it with a snipping tool and pasted it.
Yeah, my computer won't open it. That's a shame, because that people should see that. It's pretty filthy, and that guy does it because he knows you filthy fucking internet people will jump into his stream. I mean, that's the worst part. The filthy fuck knows exactly what you people are looking for. Whoa.
Well, and I mean, his stream would be a perfect example of where, you know, what we've recommended before would prove out, play completely out, right? You go into his stream and you say, "Hey, you sick fuck, why are you creating a thumbnail like that to attract the fucking worst of humanity to your show?" And when you get blocked, you fucking leave, right? But at least you make the statement of, "Hey, I'm a viewer. I don't support this bullshit. Change it. Do better."
Bingo. People should be saying that to him.
Right.
Anybody. Anybody.
And that's going to be the key to our success, because no matter how it's delivered, I know I'm harsh in how I point things out, but the harsh truth is what they're doing is worse than what I'm doing. I'm telling you, there's 5.62 billion fucks out there that need their head to check their own fucking head. These people are participating in creation of fucking filth and more tragedy on top of tragedy. I'm not creating any tragedy in your life. I'm just pointing out you're a bunch of dumb fucks. Cut it out. It's within your ability not to be a dumb fuck and not participate with people like Dolly.
And as our slogan goes, you'll come in with your ass hurting or leave with it hurting.
One way or the other.
But your ass hurts.
And the sad thing is that these people sleep every night. How? I don't get it. I don't get it.
You know, this is going to be a tough, long slug, but you know, life is a battle, right? Nothing happens overnight for the most part. And all of these people that have big followings have been on here for years. It's not like you know, that goofball JLR just started yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just
absolutely.
Did you hear the Micah letters being read on stream today? I don't know what the Micah letters are. Do you guys?
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
It's
What are
something. It's something to do. So Micah is the lady that whose husband everybody's attacking now. So yeah, it's more personal shit that they're putting out on the internet to crucify this fucking guy.
He's already lost his job.
Yeah, he lost his job with the church. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'm not sitting here standing up for the guy or condemning him either one. At the end of the day, it's none of my fucking business. The extent of what I need to know or what I should know is that there was a 911 call release that told the story. There was an eyewitness that told his story. That's all we need to know. I don't need to know this guy's and this lady's personal fucking drama.
Nope.
And the fact that he's part of a church, if he did something, I'll say he broke his marital vows and then they discharged him, that's within their fucking bounds.
Was he arrested for anything?
No.
Did he have anything that the police looked at him for?
Not that I'm aware of.
So that's the point right there. Like I said the other night on my show about something else, there's always got to be somebody to blame. It can't just be. We've talked about this before, Sarge, about multiple cases. You got to find somebody to put the blame on. Sometimes
or you gotta invent shit to create controversy, like
Yes.
400 people watching a murder on a phone, and none of those 400 people, for some reason, you bankrupt motherfucking internet watchers, none of you had the decency to wonder how 400 people could watch that horrific crime scene and not fucking say something to somebody.
right.
Do you imagine that 400 college students be as heartless as the fucking 5.62 billion assholes out here that go along with that? It's incredible.
Yep.
Well, can I interject something
Please.
as a woman?
Welcome, Clue.
Hi. So I just want to say, for the women out there that may ever find themselves in the same position, when a man leaves his wife for you, you should not expect to have a really good marriage with that same man.
Yeah, it's gonna happen again.
That's all.
No, he should be prosecuted if he was having sex with a 15-year-old when he was 30 with 5 kids, right?
That's
If
agreeable.
it's true, this man should be charged with pedophilia,
Not murder. That's right.
right? And here's the other thing too: if he is charged with pedophilia, then he is our business to pay attention to. But that accusation itself doesn't make sense to me if he hasn't been charged with a crime for being with a 15-year-old girl.
You got to present the proof.
Right? Show me the crime and then tell me your story.
There, bingo.
Don't post what people are saying on the internet, right? And denigrate the guy. We don't know if that's true. And because there's no arrest of him being with a minor, I question whether it's true or not based on the fact that there's no evidence to support it. It's that kind of shit that needs to stop online.
And if
That-
that's
go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, if that's true, he was still working for the church. When did this happen? Where's the proof of it? Who's talking about it? You know, these things always come out when something like this goes down out of nowhere. They just start dropping left and right, but there's never proof of it. Bring the receipts.
Yeah, and I'm not attacking you, Wanda. I'm just giving you an example that, in fact, statements like that aren't supported with any supporting fact shouldn't be made in public at all and shouldn't be talked about. None of our goddamn business, unless it's true. And then we need to look at the guy as a child molester, and we want to be sure he didn't do it to other children. Correct?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what our involvement. The guy's obviously, if he's with a 15-year-old, he's a danger to society and our children. He's a scumbag. Okay. The fact that he was married and all the other stuff just adds to the scumbaggery. But if that's not true, what a horrific thing for the people on YouTube to be saying.
It is, and it happens every day. Every day.
Yeah.
Just like when I was just bitching about it earlier, and the other day I went off about it. We have a woman who has had their child missing for 2 months. 2 months. So instead of showing some compassion, lifting her up, helping her to feel better about herself, no, what we have is everything that's ever happened in her life, even things that don't pertain to her, her family matters, and all those things are all brought out in the open, and that's what everybody's focused on. It's disgusting. It doesn't need to happen. It needs to stop.
Well, and at the end of the day, right, in the case of Sebastian, you got 3 parents. And I've said this since day one. This shit is going to go through the cycle of all 3. And, you know, it's the nature of how this fucked up society we live in works. And it started with Chris. It's moving to Katie. And the one that quite honestly has shown in public the moral character that should be fucking shown and pointed out is the one everybody is surrounding themselves around. But at the end of the day, even he should be left the fuck alone because he is still a grieving parent.
Exactly.
And it's none of our fucking business what any of them did 15, 20 fucking years ago, 6 fucking months ago. If it can't be proven to have happened to be relevant at that moment, he went missing. It's none of our fucking business.
Yep.
Right. Everybody thinks they're fucking Matlock or something.
That's
It's
it.
incredible the way people are on the internet. They and Harsh and all these other channels push this kind of way of thinking. And the problem is people don't know how to think. And your streamers come from that unable to think crowd and create fucking streams, right? All of these fucking listeners become streamers. Some of them end up being okay, but I imagine not everybody in the crazy house is dangerous. But I don't want to move into the crazy house to find out. And that's kind of what happens when you come up on the internet.
Yeah, that AOL jingle was just sort of the fucking doorbell for it, wasn't it?
Oh my God. Yeah, we live in an interesting time, and what kind of, if I'm affected at all, it's that everything that we're witnessing can be fixed easily. Everything, all of these political problems and wars and hunger, we could, if we just talked amongst ourselves about the things that matter and fuck what you believe in. I don't give a fuck if you think the Easter Bunny is real. That's none of my business. But when it comes to the issues we all have in common, that's our business that we should be talking about.
Yeah.
And we're kept from that by these people that provide entertainment. They take a tragedy and turn it into entertainment by adding more tragedy. Wow.
Tragedy pimping at its best.
And why would you want to put gas on this fire so that you create a bigger bonfire for more people to fucking gather around and stare at the fucking sparks?
That's what it is. If anything, you should be hosing that fire out. But no, you're making it bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and they get a lot of clicks in the audience. You folks need to stand tall and say stuff like this is inappropriate. Talking about this gentleman as being involved in the death of his wife, when there's nothing to tell us that it was. There's everything telling us he wasn't. So for you to try to convince yourself or create some fucking possible conspiracy theory that he did, you need mental fucking help, okay? Or you just need not do it and move on to something else.
There's so many other channels, so many other things that can be watched. To go in and support something like that because you're bored or because you're it's not entertainment, folks. It's disgusting. There's so many other things that can be watched you could spend your time on.
Well, when Clue created her channel, I remember when she created it, and I was thinking to myself, well, this will be interesting. She's very interested in true crime and stuff, but I was thinking to myself, how many documentaries about true crime and facts about situations can you really present? And then I discovered pretty quick that it's not about true crime at all. It's the wackadoodle fucking sect of YouTube and social media, right? And it's just one, right? It's not even just true crime. It's politics and everything else. Anything that somebody can do to get a rise out of somebody, they can create a channel over it and people will fucking flock to it.
Yes. Every genre out here on YouTube has become branded with the drama side of everything nowadays. Even the toy tubers, okay? There's drama. Why? It doesn't make sense to me. It never will.
I'm going to play a part of the title, which was Jon Stewart. And it's only 1:28, but I want to play this video. And then I'm sure you guys will notice exactly what this fucking guy is doing. And it's just sickening what he's doing. So let me present that. Share screen and we'll play this.
I like Unhoused Person's comment there. I blame the Choose Your Own Adventure books. That really is what true crime has become, right? It's choose your own adventure. Let's figure out what possible pathways we can create from this fucking tragedy and build a whole storyline on it and see what sticks.
Then you get to choose your ending too. That's another good thing. Change up the endings if you want to,
All right, looks like that's come through. I think we're just waiting for YouTube to grab it. I think Rumble has grabbed it. And then, yep, YouTube has actually grabbed it. So here we go. I'm going to play this. And, there it is. Here we go. Wait a minute. That's my channel.
The United States is Israel's closest ally, Israel's big brother in the fraternity of nations, Israel's work emergency contact. Maybe it's time for the U.S. to give Israel some tough moral love.
This is shameful. There has to be accountability for these war crimes.
No targeting civilians in war.
Stop the war crimes and the atrocities and end the war today. It could happen right now.
Right now! Thank you! These atrocities must be... So I'm being told the administration was talking about Russia bombing Ukraine. I apologize. Also a war crime. But I'm sure they're giving equally stern advice to Israel.
The Biden administration is urging Israel to be much more careful, to be more cautious.
How Israel does this matters.
Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians.
We want to see the government of Israel take steps to minimize civilian harm.
Be more surgical and more precise.
Be more careful.
Hey, Israel! Could you please be more careful with your bombing? It's good advice. But really, couldn't the United States have told Israel that when we gave them all the bombs? There are bombs.
Okay. Is this is this working?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, towards the end of that, he started to get to something that mattered. But do you notice what he's doing with his comedy routine and how he's conditioning these people that watch him? Is the issue really these people warring, or is the issue the fact that not only they warring because of the Western nations, mostly the United States, but they're also warring because we're supplying all the evidence to make all the weapons to make that war possible. And we create the circumstances and the tragedy that triggers the wars. That's never discussed with the American public, right? This has turned into some comedy fucking skit about us being not as stern on Israel as we are on Russia, which, okay, maybe there's some humor value to that. But the Russians, the only reason they're fighting us is because we started that conflict too. We supplied the money to Iran, $6 billion from the Biden administration, that they then gave money to Hamas for Hamas to come and grab 1,200 Israeli citizens and start this conflict, right? It's all us. And yet not a fucking single person is going to hear that from any of these people with a big audience, because those people earn money by keeping you outraged and then maybe keeping you laughing a little bit. Cletus?
Well, at the end of the day, it's our wealth. It comes in the form of our weaponry. Our weaponry makes more. It's probably the single biggest fucking thing that we produce. So, of course, we're going to push weaponry and conflict so that we can sell more weaponry.
Oh, we're creating conflict where there was none before.
Right.
We created the Ukrainian war out of nothing. Okay? We did that. Not the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians partook in it, but it was our idea, our money, our technique, and our ideas that caused that conflict. Same thing's happening with Israel and the Palestinians. I mean, what is not being told is the truth about how these conflicts start, how we did a coup in Ukraine and put a Western favorable government in place that then started acting against Russia, their closest neighbor, their biggest actually ally, is the way it was, turned them into an enemy.
And if he wanted to make a comedy skit about something, he could make a comedy skit about how fucking stupid we are because we won't look at the facts, but we just open our mouths and take the spoons that they feed us the shit with to get us outraged and supportive of whatever they want us to support in that moment.
And here we are, is we're never able to talk about that because there's too many talking heads like Jon Stewart and others out there that are pointing to different atrocities. Of course, it's atrocities when people are killed. But here's another insane thing. What do you mean you're going to bomb somebody and not kill a civilian? I mean, are these fucking soldiers walking out in the middle of a desert for you to hit them with a bomb? How the hell are you supposed to do that? It's the most stupid fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. I am going to go to war and invade a neighboring territory and not kill a civilian? Who says shit like that and doesn't get questioned for it? That's like me saying I'm going to go out in the fucking ocean and jump off a ship and not get wet. Okay.
Once again, we need to mind our own fucking business. Period.
And we need to be smart enough to hear what people are saying and question that shit and tell them, fuck no, we don't want our money going over there en masse. You get people bickering on the internet, we don't want to do it. But you don't get 10, 20, 30 million people screaming, no war, no more war, cut it out, stop sending our money. And there's none of these big talking heads like the Stewarts and the Tuckers and all these other jerk-offs are ever getting people together for their one voice to be heard en masse. They just keep selling you this outrage. Oh, look, another Jewish person was killed. And it's crazy, bro. Anyway.
Yeah, it's I don't know. You would think, like we were talking about last night with Tucker, I mean, Jon Stewart could make comedy skits that actually end with, the comedy of how simple the solution really could be. If the people that listen and laugh at him or laugh at what he's saying realize that they ought to be laughing at themselves for not acting.
That's not going to bring the ratings, though, so that doesn't work.
Yeah, I think on the contrary, I think the first guy to catch on to this particular line of reasoning and start making, and I'm saying somebody of note. So if a Rogan, who we're also going to be going after and attacking for what he does, any of the people on the other side of the aisle that are like talking heads for that group, if any of them catch on to what's being said about them, and it's accurate, and we're not making things up or lying on these people or making false accusations. They're outrage fucking dealers. They're propaganda promoters, and they never offer a solution. That's what they do. If they realize offering a solution will get them more viewers, I guarantee you those fucking people would jump right over to it. Right? That mindset.
Yeah.
We're going to follow them. The viewer is the one that determines what they put forward. And that's in politics and everything. It's us that controls that actual message. We think it's them feeding us a message, but it only appears that way because we sit there and eat it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So it feels like the mainstream media is making up the topics. And in a sense they are, but they're doing it based on your fucking desires. You sit there and allow it to happen. You sit there and become a part of it. And so they just keep feeding you the same shit because you seem to be content eating that shit. Meanwhile, you complain about the shit every fucking breath you take, right? But then you walk right back into the shit. You create a stream. And what do the streamers do? They act just like the mainstream media. They got to create tragedy and drama and bullshit and everything they come in contact with. Right?
Sarge, I think you need a counter on the screen that increases one time every time the word shit gets said.
Oh.
I think you said it a dozen times just in that one breath.
At the very least, yes.
Well, it's a convenient word for what these people are doing. It's shit.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm tired of eating the shit they're serving and then coming on the internet thinking, well, I'm smarter than everyone else. I don't listen to mainstream media. So you come out here and you do the exact same thing mainstream media does. Yeah. I don't know what makes you any different. How are you better than the mainstream media if you're going to come out here and say the preacher killed this woman? What makes you any different than Nancy Grace?
There's absolutely zero proof to even point to that. So again, invention, the minds of invention.
It's just sad, man. And this guy is going to get destroyed, or they're going to try to tear him. This guy's not going to want to go on the internet. How is he ever going to get a job? He just got fired, right? For reasons unknown to us at this point. But let's go make sure this guy is not only lost his wife, right? Now he's going to have to lose any ability to earn an income for the 5 kids that he's left with, right?
Right.
Let's not worry about the 5 kids. Let's just go after this guy. Y'all need Jesus. Cletus?
If you read this chat, you would think that.
How did we get on goats and llamas tonight?
Range, we were talking about goat yoga. Range said he's always wanted llamas, and I said I think llamas spit too. And then
camels do.
Well, Range said I think that's camels, but I think llamas do spit too.
Oh well, that's a good point. We could look into that, see what happens.
That'll solve the issue. I think alpacas spit at you too.
And there's our message from the agriculture desk.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, they do spit. Llamas do spit for different reasons, such as social order, dominance, or self-discipline. The spit can be from the mouth or the stomach, and it can be unpleasant or painful. How about that?
Painful? No, I'll leave it alone.
I don't understand how it would be painful unless they're like power spitting in your face or something. So be it. Don't get spit in the face spit on by a llama, folks.
Why not?
It could be painful.
Why is it burn? Is there acid in it or something?
It didn't explain that. It just said it could be painful.
Huh. Well, maybe. Well, you know, people are snowflakes nowadays. Maybe the pain is emotional. I don't know.
I think it's the one that comes from their stomach. Maybe there's acid in it or something. If they spit in your face or something, who knows?
Oh, so they're a prophylactic vending machine, is what you're saying.
Well, that's some bullshit right there.
That's fucking awesome.
So they
I was going to say that about stomach acid preventing pregnancy, but you beat me to it.
I have a question, health desk question.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
llamas spit to assert dominance, why do all of us females swallow?
Well, that's not true for all of us. It's been my experience that there's many women that don't want to do that, and oftentimes it ended with them yelling, "My eye burnt, my eye burnt." back
So the weather today has been.
It burns, honey. I'm sorry.
Or the comments you made last night about something about spitting it out on their fingers and diddling, so spit and diddle.
Yeah. Just didn't swallow. She kept it in her mouth and ended up fucking sticking her fingers in there and then diddling herself to make a baby. That shit ain't mine. Swallow, honey. Who was that woman there? I think it was Betty and her friends.
Yeah, that's who you're referring to.
Oh my God. That's what I mean, folks. In all fairness, my moral compass is a mess, but I still am able to see just how less of a mess I am than the other 52 or 62.5 fucking billion users out here, whatever that number is. It's insane. What people are doing to this, victimizing everybody, even though they're part of an existing tragedy. That's the worst part. It's not like, look at, if for no other reason you just wanted to attack me for some of the shit that I've said, you're absolutely welcome to do so. You're absolutely welcome to say that. You shouldn't treat women that way. Whatever fucking moral trip you want to pull, I have no issue with it. Okay. I asked for it by putting that stuff out there. But some dude that loses his kid in the middle of the fucking night, like an alien spaceship zapped him out, doesn't need for us to pile on and trash him and investigate his past to use that to trash him in the present. It's insane. You know, she may have yelled her eye burned, but it was consensual sex and she didn't want to swallow. I'm sorry it splashed you in the face. What am I supposed to do? Okay, and he hit me with it. So listen, I agree. I'm not the moral fucking fortitude people. The stuff I'm talking about, though, is just common decency among human beings. You don't tragedize a tragedy. I don't even think tragedize is a word, is it?
It is now.
Gregory is.
Unbelievable. And I'm one of them fucking guys that you would least likely think would care or even want to bring it up. But I think someone has to do it. And I think most of the people that are streamers, to be very honest with you, we've all got colorful fucking backgrounds. To say the least.
It just goes to show that on these fucked up social media streets that crudeness is a virtue.
Amen to that.
You can be crude and still rise to the fucking top.
Right. Oh man, I need that masseuse with one arm to straighten me up.
This chat off the chain. I am having to work tonight, Sarge.
Why? What's going on?
You don't read the chat?
Should probably read through a little. It's interesting.
Yeah, she's talking about all kinds of sexual stuff. She's got the chat completely off the subject of the fucking stream. She's completely hijacked the fucking room. Llamas, camels, what else? testosterone,
In creams.
Taurus is
not.
known for the best at giving oral favors. Unbelievable. Huh. I'm going to put that in my profile on somebody's sites. I only date Tauruses. Unbelievable. We do live here, but we do live in an amazing era where you can, in fact, communicate. Imagine if Gandhi had this shit.
Oh man.
Right.
Imagine if Jesus Christ had this fucking internet. Imagine if Buddha had this internet. I mean, this is incredible what they've taught us to do with it. We've been so fucking brainwashed and so ruined in our perspective that it's so obvious to me. Now, imagine if Hitler had it. There is and that's who's got it right now. If you really want to know the truth,
He'd have probably won.
What you're experiencing is propagandization of a population. Okay, and that puts them in their seat. It does, and that's why I say Trump is part of this as much as Biden and Hillary Clinton.
And the
You
weapon,
guys
the weapon is outrage.
Yes, bro, and believing in information.
That's we're not, you know, the concept of we're in the information age is a fucking out and out lie. We're in the outrage age.
Right. And if you answer yes to this question, there's something severely fucking wrong with you. I love animals more than people. You need a good fucking crack in the back of the head. You really do. That's a disease to think that way. Okay? Because I'll tell you something right now. You drop dead in that house and your animal can't get out, they're fucking eating you. There ain't no question about cannibalism for an animal. Right? Human beings don't do that to human beings. Human beings, we're fellow human beings. We're all different, but the same. And that's where our love should be. Not to say you can't love a pet, but to think a dog is better than a human, to me, that's just grotesque.
There's a lot of people that feel that way too.
Oh man, there's tons of them. There's millions and millions and millions of them. And here's the funny thing, for all you people that think that with the pets, just think of all the pet care. You know, we spend billions of dollars on pets. Okay. And what do we do everywhere else? We start wars everywhere else.
Yep.
I mean, no wonder the world is fucking mad at or hating on America.
That's just one good reason.
We're some spoiled fucks over here, and we should be. We're productive, but we should be spreading that to our fellow man, not fucking allowing corporations to enslave our fellow man or work with dictators that'll fucking slaughter people that don't work for almost nothing. We shouldn't be cooperating with them to enrich. And that's what we're doing, third party. We're letting Intel do that on our behalf. We got a lot of shit to fix, folks. We need to just start admitting that we're the fucking problem, and together we can fix it, because we certainly can. We didn't get here by not participating. So to think you can't get out of here by not participating is fucking insane. Cletus?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I can understand the mindset of loving animals more than people, but at the end of the day, you got to really consider that what you're using your animal for is an escape from humanity, because you've lost hope in humanity. And it's easier to go up to a pet at any time and find just immediate attention and love and just unwavering, right? As long as you don't fucking kick a dog and you feed a dog, that dog is going to love the shit out of you. Humans are a little more fucking complicated than that, but that doesn't mean that they're not worth more than that dog is.
No, and I think that we have so dropped the ball to not recognize, when I point out certain characters throughout history, to not recognize the power we have as the common man. Everything else prior to this meant we had to take up arms against somebody or something or a fellow nation, right?
Mm-hmm.
This ability to mass communicate can stop all of that. And we, for some reason, don't seem to want to look at it that way. We accept it for the way it's being delivered to us, instead of us, the end user, delivering the message back up to amongst each other. Everything can change. It's just a matter of people starting to do the right thing, and then it catches on. And the idea that we could not stop slavery around the world is insane. Of course we can. We just need enough of us demanding it. And I think the lack of that from these talking heads is what kind of irritates me the most. There's no reason a Jon Stewart or a Tucker Carlson or a Ben Shapiro or any of these other jerk offs can't be carrying the fucking message of help rather than the fucking message of divisiveness.
We can stop every bit of this. We started it. We can stop it. Works both
Absolutely.
ways.
And I would love to live in an era where Jesus actually had access to the internet. That shit would be badass. What do you think, Cletus? People be chasing that dude around with phones. They'd be like, Jesus, walk on water again, Jesus. They'd be chasing around with their phone.
I think there'd be a lot of flicks to the forehead, Sarge.
Holy
just saying.
shit. I'm just saying, imagine that shit. Gandhi, he would have been able to, he wouldn't have had to walk so far. I mean,
Be a lot of things would be different right now. I'll tell you that much.
and that's the power that we have today in the modern world. We, the common man, have the power to combine our thoughts and our ideas and our desires and put them out to the world through the internet.
And it's being wasted in a lot of ways.
Right. Chris Proudfoot slapped the fucking kid with a belt, therefore he's part of the disappearance of the boy. Bunch of nasty bastards out there. You don't have to condone or agree or disagree with him. Hit the kid with a belt. Whatever that issue was solved years ago. It's got nothing to do with the kid being gone.
Right.
Leave it alone.
It must have been leather from a llama, because I hear it has magical powers, vanishing abilities. So, yeah.
Just as much as what Katie Proudfoot's mother did in her past life, and her sister did in her past life. That had absolutely nothing to do with where this child is. But that's got to be talked about. Why?
Well,
why? Because it's negative. That's why.
They create tragedy and they create evil is what they're doing. I mean, if you want to know the truth of a true crime creator, that's the majority of them, not all of them. But let's just say there were 100, probably 92 to 95 of them are like that. What do you think that if there were 100 total true crime people, how many do you think are trying to be decent and do the right thing and move on to the next topic? I don't think there's many out of them. If there were 100 total, 5 or 10 maybe.
Well, I'll give you a 20 to 25 maybe. There's a lot we don't even know exist. So,
all right, but okay. So even if it's that much, that's still way too low in comparison to the fucking 75% of the lunatics that
it should be 75 to 80%. I agree with you. If you're claiming to be out here for that reason, you should be out here for that reason, period.
Well, I'll flip it around, because at the end of the day, it's from the same societal pool. How many people that are political creators actually offer solutions?
None.
That's a good one. There you go.
Then there you go. There's your answer.
That's why I left politics, because of this exact issue that I started here and bouncing it off of true crime. That's the exact reason why I left.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the same. The common denominator to all the fucking problems. I saw a stream today where is the judicial system corrupt? Well, fuck, of course it is, because it's made up of fucking people, and people as a whole are corrupt. Look how many of us flock to motherfuckers that will tell you they're an idiot and that they fucking just want your money. They want to throw gasoline on a fire of a tragedy to get your money. And we flock to it. Of course the judicial system is corrupt. Of course everything is fucking corrupt, because we have to fix our own mindsets to cure the fucking corruption.
Yeah.
It's a simple choice of doing better. Not that hard to fucking do.
Take a step back, analyze the situation, and take 5 minutes to think about it before you do something with it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, none of us are perfect, right? I'm far fucking from it. But if you make a conscious effort to do the right thing, if everybody did that, just imagine how much different things would be.
It would be amazing. It would be amazing.
I think a lot of people that listen to this stream, and I think a few of the other streams that are constantly pounding on the viewer, in essence. I mean, maybe they're not as openly doing it as we do here, but that's where the fix has to come from. A creator can create stuff, but if all you guys are going to do is look for the drama and create more tragedy, which really is driven by a lot of the viewers.
It is.
I know JLR does lead a charge, but then his viewers just start piling in with all kinds of new chaos, right?
Yeah, I got to agree with that for sure.
I mean, he may have pointed at Chris Proudfoot at the beginning, but then everybody's been piling on ever since. Remember, he was trying to antagonize Chris to do an interview.
And that's the thing right there is you have a choice to make. Like you can stand back and look at it and say, okay, you don't have to jump on the bandwagon. Make your own choice.
Here we go. The most commonly stated thing I've heard, it's something similar to this all the time. We're so brainwashed, in reality, nothing going to change. And in reality, there ain't anybody out there telling you to change except this channel.
The thing is, Carl, if you know that you're brainwashed, though, and we all do. We all know we are.
Right. And it only takes a small group to start pointing that out to others. People know what the fuck they're doing. They're not stupid. It's not unknown to them. But they're going along with this. They're like going with the group think. They're going with the crowd. That's where all of these topics end up going, and people just don't even give it a second thought, and they participate in it. Just stop yourself from participating and say, hey, let's leave this preacher alone until we know what's true and what's false.
And that's the thing right there. And I said that before, even about the Sebastian situation. You don't have to jump on like that as soon as you see or hear this. Let something, I'm not saying you never do. Let some proof come out. Let something happen. Let there be an investigation. Let them show what he did. Then if you want to say something or do something about it when there's actual proof, then go for it. Until then, we don't know. And it's insane.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know. Cletus, you're up.
Well, and what Carl's comment on the screen, I do try and control my mind, but most people don't.
That's true.
I don't know that it's so much that most people don't, but they only control it in certain ways, right? And if everybody would open their mind to the fact that what they don't try to control makes the most negative fucking impact on things, it could be better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got no lie to tell. I've watched Dolly a lot because he's fucking hilarious. But when you sit and watch and think about what he's actually doing, it's fucking sick.
It is. It is in a lot of ways. I used to watch him all the time too until Quentin Simon's case came around. Then there was something that happened, and I stopped.
Tucker Carlson, same thing, right? 4 years ago, I watched him every fucking day. But then I realized that the only fucking reason I watched him is because he fed my need for outrage.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to put it, too.
And I want to clarify this. It's all a government psyop, and unfortunately, it's working. But this is the part that people, I don't know how to say this to get people's bulbs to go off in their fucking head. Propaganda only exists when we engage it. There can be no propaganda if you don't pay any attention to the topic. So when I say, fuck global warming, talk about getting better energy plants for the sake of better energy and more jobs. Make that a fucking topic amongst our group, right? How about instead of talking about the abortion law, which has been settled by the Supreme Court, move off onto something else and start talking about how many kids could be adopted. Change the fucking subject and stay with the subject. Don't engage their side. Because even if you engage them with facts that show that they're wrong, you're promoting their side. You're giving them a platform for their shit to spread. More and more people are going to want to argue with this person now.
That's an amazing idea. Change the topic relating to the same subject. Because if you eat tomato soup for 4 days out of the week, you're going to get tired of it. Change it up, but you're still eating soup. Eat chicken noodle on the 5th day. That's all I'm saying. That makes a lot of sense. I like that, Sarge. I really do.
It's not that hard. We could fix what's going on simply, even though it is I don't know if it is or isn't a government psyop, but let's pretend it is for the sake of pretending. That doesn't mean you got to participate in it. If people don't participate, then there isn't any way for it to work. And if those that they claim, for instance, if you're saying it's not working on you, then it's behooving upon you to help other people understand that the brainwashing that we're subjected to on a daily fucking basis is we're doing it to ourselves. They may come up with a crazy idea, but like this person comes up with a crazy idea about Chris Proudfoot. Who's carried that information all over the internet? Is it the guy that started it on the stream, or is it the fucking user? That's all. It's very, very simple. The users, we're doing this shit to ourselves. And we want to blame the government, or we want to blame
it is programming, Greg. That's exactly what it is. We're all programmed, just like a damn robot. Every one of us are. We're programmed to be afraid of change. We're programmed to fear the consequence of standing up against it. We're all programmed just like an android would be. I'm telling you, whether we want to believe it or not, it's fact. Because that's how we've been, call it programmed, since from the time that we were small children till right now. We've been taught all of these things. If you stand up against the man, you're gonna be hurt for it. So
I want to do a presentation, folks, that shows you that 1 times 1 does not equal 1. I'm going to put together a small presentation with this particular actor that shows you that doing math in 2D certainly works in the common things that we do in today's world, but the universe is built on math that's 3D. And that's the math that we're not being taught. We're being taught Euclidean, I think is the word, math. And that's based on 2 dimensions. We live in a 3-dimensional world. Why are we not working with 3-dimensional math? Why is that not being taught in our schools? Or why aren't scientists trying to understand it? This guy's an actor, but he's a brilliant genius. And you wouldn't know it. And I didn't know it until today. And here's the point I'm trying to say. We all know 1 times 1 equals 1. Right? 1 plus 1 equals 2. Right? You can't argue against anybody. We know that to be fact. They've shown that to be fact. And it is in the 2-dimensional world. But in the 3-dimensional world, it's not. And why aren't they teaching us about 3-dimensional math? What's the significance of that? Because it goes beyond building a house or a road. It goes beyond the understanding who and what you are and how things work. And they don't want you to know how things actually work.
Were you talking about Terrence Howard, Sarge?
Is that his name?
There's somebody in chat's asking that.
That black dude. Yeah.
Terrence Howard.
That dude's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Down.
You guys, you guys should, like I said, that should be played. If someone knows him, who said they knew him?
A couple people mentioned him just a name, I think.
Terrence Howard. Yes.
I know who he is.
Yeah, he played in
Hustle and Flow.
Yep.
And
that dude's got to have an IQ breaking 150, 180. He's got to be way up there. You got to listen to the guy. And he makes it understandable. That's what's awesome. He really makes it understandable. So what he's saying, you could see what he's telling you isn't bullshit. It's not like some made up story.
Hold on.
He connects it out really well.
All right, you're good.
I didn't mean to impose.
No, it's fine.
I just want to say bye. I love you.
Love you too. Be careful.
I will. Wait, is that the race car?
No.
Oh.
They were talking about him.
I was giving that up as just so you folks know, is to show you that we're programmed to see things the way we see them. But there's much more. I mean, why do you think scientists have these particle colliders? And we have all these places to test rockets and to test wings and lift. And we test all of this. All of these things that we engage with are all based on 2D math.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if the 3D math explains how they move 150-ton fucking blocks, and they didn't have the 2D shit that we have. That's kind of what this guy's pointing out to us in a sense, that there's much more for us to be experiencing, and we've been brainwashed and stuck in the system we're stuck with, and we don't have to be. I mean,
we all know and accept what they want us to know and accept, and don't push past it. That's the problem. Some people do, but
yeah, and I don't want to get too deep into it because it's a topic that most people's eyes will roll back in their head. But if you get a chance, watch that guy and just listen to him for 30 minutes, and you'll see he's a much better explainer of it than I am, and it's pretty freaking cool stuff. So that was it, really. So now we're at 10:04. Cletus, any last words? And I will not hang up on you. That I promise you tonight. I'll give up. I'll pass on that.
Well, I think that
yep, he bailed on his own. He thought he could. I think he thought that I was going to hang up on him anyway.
That's okay.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Well,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Dick, when is your next stream? And you could post a link to your stream in the room there. 98 people.
I don't have it here. I can grab it though. If I don't do one tonight, I was thinking about doing a late one tonight, just for the hell of it. because today was my anniversary. That's why I didn't do anything. But if it's not, it'll be early afternoon tomorrow.
Okay. Well, that's good. Just so we
I
can
really appreciate you having me, Sarge. It's been an outstanding experience. And I got to wear a tie.
I know that was nice. You're the only person that's wore a tie here on the Your Ass Hurts News Network.
Well, I just out of respect for you and the channel, I'm trying to.
Well, I don't know if you're not mocking me with those glasses, but who am I to say? I'm at the top.
Oh no, I wear these glasses all the time in my channel too. I have a couple different pairs. I just do it for the fun of it. That's all. I'll take them off.
I'm just messing with you, bro.
I know.
Dapper Dago. That's what you're called.
Dapper Day. Well, when I'm over here, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not at your own place?
I like being because over here I can say fuck it and fuck off or.
And I want to say this before we leave. There's a gentleman called 12 Gauge. I call him 11+1, but tonight I had the nickname of 11-1. But he's very, very, very discouraged by how the first thing all these streams are doing are attacking that preacher.
Yes.
With the wife that committed suicide. And it's almost like so many straws before the camel's back breaks. And he really does I see and identify the tragedy dealers and how the tragedy affects and attracts all of these viewers. That gentleman is not
that's sad.
Prone to say the wacky shit I say that might keep people's attention, but he's given up some streams and put out some information that's very valuable to what we've been observing in these crimes.
Yeah, he's got good stuff over there.
And he's a very reasonable guy. Very nice. And yet it's funny. He might get 2 viewers, but some asshat like Dolly that's going to talk about young Sebastian making messes in his pants gets 30,000 viewers.
And that's another thing too, that nobody seems to care nor think. Before I leave, I'd like to say this. All of these things that have been put out there about Sebastian, about what, thank you, Sarge. What has happened throughout this 2 months, this, 60, whatever some odd days it's been that he's been missing. When he comes back, he gets to look at all this and see all this and hear all this. And nobody wants to think about how he's going to feel about any of that after what he's just gone through. Hold on to that one for a while, folks. Pretty sad.
Nobody wants to consider anything, and it's as if their actions don't matter. It's the internet. It's not real. Well, go ask the Proudfoots why they had to go stay in their camper, and then why people were following them around. What do you mean it isn't real?
Mm-hmm.
Sure it is. Right?
It absolutely is. It's sad. Everybody's sad.
It's not real. Brian Koberger, based on what I listen, you got a minute you want to talk about?
Absolutely.
Cletus bailed on us. My son, I think he's gotten chicken feathers that starting to replace the Bigfoot hair, but that's neither here nor there. Being a chicken, who am I to judge? Anyway,
he's got to work.
Who's that lawyer?
Who's what?
Rebecca Burkhoff, or I forget her name, man. I want to give credit.
Burkhart.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I listened to her today for the first time.
Okay.
And she made a point. And I've heard the judge say this before. And responding to the parties, he's like, this is stuff that'll get answered at trial if it even gets to trial.
Right.
Okay. So he knows shit that obviously the public isn't privy to because he's the judge, right?
Yeah.
And for him to make that statement, if it even gets to trial, it could be 2 things. It could be he's inferring that maybe Koberger will make a plea bargain, right?
Yeah.
Or that there isn't enough of a case to be bringing this to trial. And when you look at the information that's been released, it's becoming more and more obvious that there isn't enough information that they're going to be able to provide to support this accusation. Wait, I have breaking news. Clue Minotti, not to be mistaken, is the first and last name, appears to have come to the stage.
Oh, shit. Let me move over. Hold on.
Oh, shit. He did not go there.
What happened?
I moved over so you could get in here.
When I said you were coming into the room, he's like, let me move out of the way.
Are you calling me fat, Diggo?
I did not mean that at all. Damn it. That's what I was trying to say.
You heard it here first on Your Ass Hurts News Network. His ass is going to be hurt, and let's all tune in. Go ahead, Cliff.
I was just giving the asshat some room. That's all. Since she put my sleepy video up on her video today,
First
I love
off,
her. I love her to
Here's
death. I love her
photo.
to death. guys. I'm just teasing. I'm not mad at her at all.
I only put a photo. I didn't put a video. And
It was.
I
It was.
mean,
It was my stunt double. It wasn't really me.
Well,
I
there
use
you
a
have
stunt
it.
double sometimes, guys. When I'm in my videos, sometimes I have to put my stunt double in because I got to
The,
go.
Your
drop the
Answer News Network has internal strife that we're willing to broadcast live to you.
Just saying.
Your turn, Cliff. We hide nothing
Nothing.
from nobody because we don't give a fuck. Go ahead, Cliff.
I heard Idaho, so I came in.
Oh, yeah. So did you? I was Burkhart. That's her name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you listen to her today?
No, you told me to, but I didn't do my homework, teacher.
I did for the first time. And in all fairness, honest to God, first time I ever listened to her. And she's not saying anything much different than what we've been saying and pushing and pointing out. She's more concise, maybe a little quicker to get to the point, which I think we all could learn from.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, it looks like, based on the arguments that the state is getting about producing discovery on casts, on the video footage, right? Those are the two most important parts of the case. And of all parts of the case, that shouldn't be the problem. That's what you use to arrest the fucking dude with, right? Your cast reports and your fucking videos. And the fact that the FBI is not cooperating, and the defense or the prosecution said they're going to be going through the Thule method to get this discovery. All right.
Right.
Is a significant statement by the defense, because now it appears that they're in an adversarial position against the FBI. Right. And
Well,
why?
I've had that question from the beginning, right? Like, if the cast is used to make an arrest, how do you make an arrest when you don't even have a cast report?
That's a great question, ain't it?
Yeah, I agree. And
they had a draft.
How do you identify an 11 to 13 Elantra that you're interested because it may have seen something, right? And then later on, and this is where I think the FBI is like, go F yourself, Bill. Later on, they send them another clip. And in that clip, they do identify a 14 to 16, but it's from a different place.
Yeah.
You see? So now the FBI has identified two vehicles. And what Idaho did is they combined them from an 11 to a 16, right? And the FBI is probably like, wait a minute. The car you're talking about in the PCA is the 11 to 13.
Yep.
That's the conflict he's going to have with them. They're going to have, I can't even imagine how they couldn't. They're going to have an argument. And that's why they're not giving up this video footage, because that video footage in its entirety will show the FBI's identity was accurate that first time and the second time. And they were accurate no matter what fucking picture they showed them. Those people identified the vehicle as it was supposed to be identified.
Gonna make a big problematic issue. Go ahead, Clue. Sorry.
Why would you even... I lost my damn train of thought. Damn, Dago. I don't remember.
Why would you even...
yeah. So why would you even put out that you're looking to talk to the people that drove this alleged Hyundai, right? Because wouldn't one think that you would be worried a little bit about spooking your suspect? Like, if you truly thought that was a suspect vehicle?
Yep.
No, I think quite the contrary. I think it went in reverse. I think, in fact, when they came forward looking for that vehicle and you watched the Linda Lane footage, anybody with a reasonable brain would see that when that car left the last time, the car that they sent went around the building as an Elantra isn't. I think when they originally looked for the 11 to 13, somebody knew that. And they said that the people in that car may have observed something that could help this investigation. I don't have any question that that entire proceeding was, or that whole event was true, honest. And later, when they got all the cell phone pings for Brian, as they suggest in the PCA, he might have been stalking them. Their perspective changed. Somebody in the chain of command or someone somewhere said that Elantra had to have something to do with it. And Koberger owned the Elantra, and they built the case forward from there. But I don't think that they were lying to us when they said, here's what I wanted to say, and then I'll let you two guys talk, is this. When you watch that video of that white car leaving and the one coming in that parks at the time they say in the parts PCA it parks, it's a different manufacturer, it's a different car completely. And so it would make sense that they being able to identify the Elantra, it would make sense for them to come on TV and say, the occupant or occupants of an 11 to 13 Elantra, we'd like to talk with you. You may have seen something that night that could help this investigation. And what is it they could have seen? That other car that drove around the building at the time the PCA claims the Elantra did. So, I mean, and logically, that whole situation makes sense.
Yes, sir.
And I think Ms. Burkhardt is right. I've been saying this for a while. I don't think this is going to go to trial. I think there'll be a motion to dismiss.
It's coming, in my opinion, too. It's coming, especially with what Anne seems to be, the plan that she seems to be rolling with, the chess move she's making right now. It's coming. It's coming real quick here. I truly, at this point, I didn't think that there was possibility for dismissal, or a possibility that this wouldn't make it to trial. My mind is changing, folks. It really is.
What do you think, Chloe?
I don't know. I think they'll put in a motion, but I don't think it'll be granted.
Well,
like I really don't. They have to, in my opinion, have, if you will, a villain for this crime for that school.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I do, and I for one hope that they don't dismiss this, because I want to see this trial. I think the whole world needs to see this trial. Everybody needs to see how everything unfolds. Personally, to me,
I think it would be more impactful if they didn't see the trial. It was dismissed based on the motion she files, which will be for lack of corroborating evidence in the accusatory instrument.
Well, the only reason why I agree with you on that part of it, I do. I think you're absolutely right on that part of it. The only reason why I think that we need to see a trial is to see the possibility of who else could have been involved in this if Brian's not the one that did this. Because they're not going to touch on that, I don't think, at all. No. But there's going to be some other things that may point to that, is my opinion, is what I'm saying. Do you know what I'm saying? Based on witnesses and things like that, it may point to somebody else that they haven't looked into. I don't know. That's just my opinion on it.
I disagree with CL or CI respectfully in that a motion to dismiss would have already been filed after a motion for inadmissible evidence. However, they have not been given full discovery.
That's what I think.
Because there is no full discovery, you don't want to prematurely file to dismiss the case. Now,
right.
You may file because of lack of discovery that any evidence or inference thereof should be taken off the table, can't be used in court. So you would file not a motion to compel, but a motion to suppress, so that you would suppress the PCA from going into this. Is what would happen. The PCA would be suppressed as evidence. So now they can't use anything in the PCA. At that point, she then would file for a motion to dismiss. Well, if they award that to her on the evidence.
That's exactly how I think that's going to happen. Why it hasn't happened, I do agree with you on that too. She's waiting to prove that there's not going to be that discovery.
It's a procedure. She has to make sure that when she files for a motion to dismiss, she's got all the facts that support that.
Yep, indeed.
And you're holding her up on the evidence. Yeah, after the evidence is inadmissible, what's left is a motion to dismiss. Let's say the FBI can't produce any actual background information to verify the claim of the PCA. Then it's based on Brett Payne's testimony, and Brett Payne's not an expert, so that's useless, right? If they couldn't recreate, and that would also be a problem. If they can't recreate his estimations, that then is evidence that's exculpatory.
So the estimate that's the problem I've had with the CAS data all along, right? Is the CAS data essentially is nothing because his phone was not connected to the network.
Right.
The CAS data is only relevant in terms of showing that at 2:48 and 4:48 or whatever it was, a phone turned on.
Right.
And it also identifies that a phone turned on utilizing resources at an intersection where his car was also captured on camera at one point that evening.
Yeah.
But other than that, it doesn't prove anything. It doesn't implicate him in any way. So to me, it's one of those things. Without the car being 100%, the CAS data is useless.
Amen. Yeah. And when Cy comes out and says Mr. Kohberger wasn't even in the state, he was over here doing this and that, that's the end of it.
Do you remember on your show when I said that Brian Kohberger's alibi is going to be exactly what the police have proven? He was driving around, right?
Yes.
And then what did he do? Came out and said that about a month later, and now they're still making that same statement. And I say the PCA exonerates Mr. Kohberger. It doesn't convict him because the PCA, although it makes allegations to implicate him,
it is his alibi.
It cannot be proven. And what can be proven from it is going to be a reasonable doubt.
Yeah. Yep. I do agree.
I also said not long ago that Brian Kohberger is going to admit to being in the camera that you claim he was in, where his phone pinged. He's going to say, yeah, that's me. Yeah. You see, my phone pinged there and you caught me on that camera. That certainly was me. And all of it is going to be at times that have nothing to do with the crime.
Bingo. Right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So he doesn't even have to argue their cast is wrong. He can agree with it all.
And the sad part of this, at the end of all of that, is that leaves no justice for the victims and families, and that town is just gonna fold in. That's gonna be the end of that.
Well, then they tore the house down. So what happens? What happens if this unfolds the way we're discussing? What now for these families and these victims?
There is nothing.
All these goofballs on the internet that wouldn't pay attention to the only available facts we had and try to understand them.
Right.
All running down the road. Kohberger's guilty. He's a piece of shit. He's a murderer. Right. What about Kohberger's life? If what we've just discussed, and Andrea Burkhardt is, I think, a strong purporter of this particular setting of opinion. If it pans out this way, and it most likely will, what do you people got to say for yourself that now destroyed this guy's life?
They'll say nothing at all. They'll turn around and walk away like, oh, well, it is what it is.
Right. Is there anybody in this case other than I call him Crack-a-Claus? And the reason I call him Crack-a-Claus is that guy is a paid representative of the people. And even though I'm not a citizen of that state, that guy needs to always do the right thing. Not the right thing for his career, not the right thing for his number count of convictions, but the right thing for the citizens of the state. And that would mean finding the proper murderer of those 4 young kids.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
He's opened himself up to ridicule, in my opinion. But I'm not going to go out and destroy his life like the crazies on YouTube do.
It's a very sad situation. Very, very, very sad. Yeah, there'll be no answers. There'll be no answers, no closure, no justice. And life will move on. It's going to be a cold case, and 35 years down the road, somebody's going to admit to something on their deathbed, and it'll be too late.
Yeah. If they even admit it, why would they admit to that?
Well, I'm just saying as an example, it's a possibility, but they probably wouldn't. You're right.
All right. Yeah, and I honestly think whether the court likes it or not, and the attorneys involved like it or not, we the people should be sending communications to them. Provide discovery. Show us this guy. Do your job.
Amen to that.
We probably should have done that to stop the house from getting knocked down. But what did we do? Nothing. We just complained about it, ridiculed, made fun of it. Meanwhile, they knocked the house down. So if this turns out Kohberger can't be convicted for the crime, now what are you going to do? Just run around thinking Kohberger's the only one that could have done it?
That's what's going to happen for the next 25 years is everybody's going to still say he did it. I don't care what anybody says. He did it because they've not shown proof of anybody else because they never went looking for anybody else. Not even once.
Or they had to hide someone else.
Yeah, that's that. Well, there's that too. That's another amazing option, Clue.
He becomes O.J. Kohberger.
Yeah, right.
What's that?
He becomes O.J. Kohberger.
Right. And to what end? And yet it's driven. They say the internet isn't real. Well, it certainly is real to the people you asshats target. Right?
And that's a big deal. That's something I think that needs to happen. If Brian gets off because he's found innocent on this, and they shut everything down and walk away, Somebody needs to make them accountable to close the case the right way, which never happens. It never happens, but somebody needs to do it somewhere.
I'm telling y'all, I think they told the truth in the beginning.
With
In
what?
one of the very first press conferences, the house was targeted.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
Keep it going. I'll be right back.
I agree with that. And they backed away from that really quick, if you notice. Very quick. But I can agree with you on that. That makes a lot of sense too. If you look at a lot of the other things we've looked into, something happened and they pulled back. A couple things they changed in the beginning that makes you wonder. Do you go back to that and think about it again? Because at this point, guys, none of this makes any sense, and it's never going to if we keep going with this narrative. So I'm sorry to those people that are in that narrative, but whatever. Yeah, they did, Sherlock. You're right. They did. And I talked about that the other day, where they brought in the parallel investigation conversation, and then it just disappeared again. I mean, all of those things need to be looked at. The FBI is never going to admit to anything that they do. That's not. They don't have to. Yeah, that's true.
I do got a question for what do you mean the house was the target? Explain that, because I'm not sure I understand.
When they first came out in the first, yeah, it was either the first or the second press conference. It was when the captain that retired was the spokesperson at that point, stated that the house was actually the target. It wasn't them, that the house was the target, that it was there was a whole thing that it was very uncomfortable for a lot of people.
What does that mean? The house was the
target. They never went on with it. That was it. They changed it up.
Meaning there was not a specific targeted person, just the house was
itself.
the target.
Which could mean everybody that's in the house. It could have meant
well, it could have meant now that see here, I don't follow that narrative only because
the property within itself, okay?
Wasn't that how TikTok or Drip Drop came up with tunnels? Isn't that how all the tunnels got started with the house was the target?
Listen, the one thing that was talked about in the very beginning, Sarge, you were around, I think you might remember this, is that property is a was a very hot commodity.
What do you mean was? It still is. It's already
it's been sold off now, but yeah, I know what you're saying. But
well, it wasn't sold, it was donated.
It is a very hot commodity that a lot of people wanted to get their hands on that property. That's never been talked about since by anybody other than people out there.
Killing 4 students in that property isn't. See, that's why the crime doesn't fit the house being the target unless let me finish. Unless they meant that those girls doing what they were doing on Instagram and other things were why the house had become a target. There has to be a reason for the house to be targeted. So it's either the occupants or something in the house.
I think if that's what it ends up being, it's multiple reasons, not just one specific. But again, one thing you got to look at is that property is a very hot commodity. Is not was. Thank you.
Yeah, but to kill 4 college students, you destroy the property.
I'm not saying that that's the only reason.
Boom, you just said it right there. To kill 4 college students, you destroy the property.
Okay.
Meaning nobody would want it. Nobody's going to want it at that point.
Right. So then what happens? It's donated to the university.
Oh, okay. And so that was the whole point, was to get, I guess it could be that.
Well, do you know how much the property was worth before that happened, Sarge?
But why did they leave victims? Why did they leave people alive?
It's not even about, for me, how much it was worth. They had a housing problem at that time. They couldn't fit all the new incoming students. I don't know. I don't know why I've been on this mode since this happened, looking into it, but it just fits to me.
I agree with her on that part of it. I think there was more to it than that too, but that's one big thing I looked at in the very beginning as well. Because if you think about the money, there is money, okay? How many students can, if they take that whole corner and build that up, that entire corner, including where that house was, we've already talked about that. You could put a whole lot of housing in that area.
Yeah.
It's already labeled on Google, Bailey Apartments. Like, I'm telling y'all, like, and if you think that that freaking Scott Green wouldn't orchestrate something like that to make
Well-
more money for that college. Y'all are crazy.
I just
Wait a minute. Let me say, there were no tunnels near that house. However say that name.
No, there's no tunnels
No
near
tunnels
or
anywhere near that house. Anyway, my thought was always, I think the most accurate is it was a crime of passion. And I think a crime of passion explains the crime scene better than anything else.
Go ahead, babe.
No, I do agree with Sarge, but if what they said in the beginning, right, that the house was a target, if there's any truth to that, to me, that goes hand in hand with the number of victims and the number of vehicles in the driveway at the time of the crime.
I also agree with
there
that.
were 4 victims, there were 4 vehicles. And then them say the house was the target. To me, that says that this was a crime of opportunity by somebody that wanted to pull off a horrific crime. That was the location they took the opportunity in.
Yeah, I still have a problem with how you leave 2 survivors, both of them women, which has been what you were going to attack originally. Ethan was an outlier because he didn't live there.
Well, and I do agree. That is the Achilles heel of any theory that exists. Is you cannot negate the likelihood that those 2 were, one or both of the 2 survivors were involved until you vet that they weren't involved, which they did not do. So it has to remain a suspicion.
And Nevernight, if it was a crime of passion, the 2 or 3 of those people could have just been collateral damage because they were there.
Not only that, there's a lot of problems with with your theories, guys. And it's here's what I think is a big problem is. That would be an organized design to do this crime. Therefore, you wouldn't have walked into that knife in a sheath in your hand. That knife would have been mounted to the belt where it belonged. You wouldn't have left a sheath behind. Okay. You would have left tracks coming out of that house. Well, I think you would have inadvertently. There's no way that person was in that house long enough to clean up after themselves. So if there wasn't massive blood trails going through that whole house or drips, then there's a big problem with it being targeted.
Well, unless they were trying to purposely set somebody up.
No, they only were in the house 10 or 12 minutes to do the crime. So here's the other problem you have is the survivor that witnessed the person leaving the property in an area that could not be unnoticed. You could not notice that girl standing in the doorway.
I agree.
So these are a lot of holes that tell me that the crime came from within, not from without.
That's another theory that's been thrown out there a lot. I can agree with you.
Always thrown it. I started with the crime of passion between the 3 girls, the 2 upstairs and Dylan. It explains all of the little weirdnesses of how the scene was when everybody got there, how 8 hours went by, how the sheath was. How could you carry a knife with the intent to kill in a sheath where now both your hands are occupied to wield the weapon? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, and I've always agreed with your theory on the fact that that knife belonged to somebody that lived inside. That's something that has always been on my mind, and I've always had to say that makes a lot of sense. Because you got these girls living here. Ethan didn't live there. If you know, girls, women, even men for that matter, keep things around for protection of their own. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense with that too, with that knife, the sheath, and everything. It was just there, you know.
I think it belonged to one of the victims. I think one of the victims drew that and stuck the sheath under her. Remember, the sheath is under a blanket under a victim.
Right.
The sheath would have been dropped. Why is it under anybody? And not only that, why is it under the comforter?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think a lawyer made the word, I think it was on the defense team, that was placed. And I think he's thinking the same thing I'm thinking, that it was placed by the person that actually initially displayed it. And it was somebody in the bed trying to ward somebody off. And that knife got out of their possession and used on them.
Very possible.
Then DoorDash comes by. After this happens, you go down the stairs, and who do you run into? One of the people from the front room. And you got a knife, and you're covered in blood, or you got blood on you, right? Mm-hmm. They may have heard the struggle upstairs, and then they ran, and you just chased them down, and they became victims because they were witnesses or a witness that ended up turning into 2 once you entered that room. That's how I see the crime of happening, and not. some goofball named Koberger and Elantra fucking driving places he's not supposed to be.
So if that were the case, and this is just completely, you know, a what if situation, everyone, but if that were the case, why Brian then?
Because I suspect that, like everyone else in the beginning, wouldn't let you talk about Dylan. I got screamed at, "You're a victim shamer." How many times?
I know.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
let me talk about it on your channel till July, and then all of a sudden, Linda Lane. Remember, you know how that went down with us. And I always said that I don't care what show you watch. The people that commit these crimes are always in your circle, if not immediate, then in the circle of friends you have, their circles. Somehow, some way. That's how these crimes generally take place. Or it's a completely random act of a serial killer. But then you've got to go back and question why he left the other two girls alone.
You're right.
Why did he pick that house? You have to find out how he picked a house full of women.
I'm still with fiance. If that's the route that everyone's going to go down, you got 4 cars outside, you kill 4 people, you think you're done.
What do you mean?
There's 4 cars outside, you kill 4 people, you wouldn't assume there was anyone else in the house.
Right. Gotcha.
But then you walk by one standing in a doorway.
I think you guys don't understand this doorway thing, in my opinion. There's a very good chance that you could walk by someone in that doorway and not see them. There's no lights.
Well, now I have to argue that just a little bit. That the way that doorway is, if you were coming from the direction that it was claimed that he was going around that corner to go through the kitchen area per se, there was a big light in that living area there that was shining right directly around where that corner area would. So you'd have to see something, I would imagine.
Well, it's her door. If you're in her room, you open her door and pull it to your right. So now when you stand in the doorway, somebody coming into the hallway is coming right at you, headed right for you. It would be almost impossible not to notice that door was open.
Yeah.
And then even more so that there wasn't a 5'10" blonde standing in it, looking out.
Here's the other side to that, you guys. That very well could be something that never ever actually happened.
If her door opened the other way, if her door swung to the left, I could see it. Maybe he didn't catch it, but the fact that that door opened, and when it opened, it provided a direct view to you from that hallway and from the living area, for that matter, right from the living area looking straight out. That door opened in a way to expose whoever was standing there. I just can't imagine someone missing that.
I'm still not completely convinced that ever even happened. I'll be honest with you.
I'll agree with that.
I really am. I've had struggles with that from the very beginning of the PCA. I'm not going to get into why I think that right now, but I've talked about it before on my channel that, you know, people can say things, whatever they want to say. That doesn't mean it's actual fact, folks. Just remember that. I never saw anything about their eyes meeting. Do you remember seeing that?
No.
I didn't think so. If he went past her, he turned a corner, I do believe, to go by there. Okay. So it still doesn't make sense to me. Not to mention there was a lift in the floor. There's a lot of things there that are different.
But him stepping into that hallway put him directly across from the staircase that led to the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
He had to walk a straight line, step down, and then take a step to the right to get into the kitchen.
That's right. That's right.
So my point is his whole movement would be, it's possible, I guess, he didn't see Dylan, but man, I just can't even imagine that.
If he's like walking, looking down to make sure he don't miss the step or something, I could see it. And he passes
up. Yeah, that's a good point.
He passes right by that neon sign, which is going to be really bright in his face, and then he goes immediately into a dark hallway. His eyes are adjusting. I'm just saying I could see it. And if it's true that he has that snow cloud vision or whatever it's called, I'm just saying it's possible.
And it was never actually, yeah, the visual snow. That's right, Ray. And it was never actually told to us how cracked that door was or how open her door was.
Well, she
You
said
guys
she opened it. She opened the door and stood in it. Stood in the open
No,
door.
that
What did she say?
well, it doesn't.
I
People.
opened the door and looked out.
And that could be anything, Sarge. She could open it just enough for her eyeball to
Right.
look cracked.
No.
Okay.
It doesn't say she cracked it. It does say she opened her door.
Right.
Well, when you open the door in your own home, Dago, you live there. It's in your own home. You're not thinking anything bad is going on. You're not going to be peeking out of your door.
That's why I said I have a problem with her statement, Sarge, because I think she heard stuff. I think she heard a lot of something, and therefore, in turn, if she's going to open her door after hearing what she probably heard, I don't think it was going to be wide open. If she's scared, she's going to crack that door and peek out and say, what the hell's going on out there, maybe. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that's how that happened.
She opened her door and looked out on 3 different occasions.
Oh, right. That's another problem with that whole thing.
No, her story makes no sense except to take the focus off of her. And that's why I've always held the idea that incident started in the house and ended in the house. And it fills in the weirdness of it. The knife sheath, the 8-hour delay, the fact that the guy could not or did not observe him because of his cloud. I mean, in other words, we all agree that would be a very obvious thing to notice. He walked by that fucking door 3 times and it was closed. Right?
I mean, I do agree.
Right now, the last time he goes to leave, it's open and he don't notice it. I don't know. Okay, if I accept that, then my point is you got to make a leap where there is no leap to put together the series of events as I do with Dylan. There's no leap to make. The evidence supports the argument that I'm making. Now, I'm not saying she did anything or it's true, but I think it's probably the smoothest application of the facts without coming up with ifs, coulda, woulda, shouldas.
That description was in the PCA, right? The door?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I'm looking right now just to clarify. By the way, there's 2 more documents I'll be talking about, if not late tonight, tomorrow.
Oh, joy.
To the world. The
All
Dago is born.
girls.
The Dago is born.
I guess I irritated somebody in here. I didn't mean to. I'm just trying to describe something, but that's okay. Okay, let's see here.
We got the troll. I'm on it. I got my
No,
troll.
it's not a troll. It's just a person. I didn't mean to irritate. Christ, I was just trying to describe something. Let me see. It says.
Can I? Yeah. Now I want to go back to this too. She said he had bushy eyebrow, right? He was clad in black, wearing a mask that covered his face and nose,
nose and
right?
mouth,
nose and mouth, and had bushy eyebrows. Clearly, she wasn't peeking. She was doing what she told us. She opened the door and looked out. And when she looked out, she looked at whoever this perpetrator was and saw a complete person. Right?
Yeah.
That's what she's telling us.
There. I have that. It's backstage.
And I don't know how we then say that this perpetrator didn't see her.
Well, minus the skin tone.
Right.
Okay, so DM stated she opened her door for the 3rd time after she heard crying. So I figured clad in black clothing and a mask. So it just says opened. It never says cracked or any of that. So that covered the person's mouth, nose walking towards her. DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller, which he's way taller.
Can you stop for a second? For a second?
Yep.
Okay. When she says walking towards her, because the door opens to the right, it's only logical to know to accept that she's walking from the common area into the hallway. She's not, in other words, he's not coming down the staircase from the 3rd floor. This statement, and based on way that door opens, means that whoever this perpetrator she's claiming was there walked from the common room, stepped into the hallway in front of her door, and made a right-hand turn to go out the sliding door. She's saying he came straight at her in this statement. And I'm saying to you that that kind of visualization based on the orientation of the hallway and the doorway, there's too many hoops I got to jump through to accept that somebody wouldn't have seen her.
I mean, people just, I don't know. For me personally, I just look at it like people think this is like the longest, biggest, most gigantic hallway. It would be literally probably 1.5, maybe 2 steps for Koberger to be out of.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
it's really small.
I agree 100%. Somebody would have had to probably have known that was there.
Well, that's all I'm saying. Like the fact that he didn't see her. I mean, the amount of time he's going to spend in this hallway is little to none.
Right.
Long enough for her to describe him, though, but not long enough
But
for
you
him
got
to
to
see her.
understand, if she's looking out of her door, she sees him, my assumption, probably walking past that neon light in the living room and turning. So she does have a chance to have a very good visual of him.
Yeah, I'm not saying that her story is false. I'm saying I think it's a matter of convenience to take the focus off of her. That's my interpretation of the event. And the fact that he couldn't see her, that neon light wasn't, man, it was almost like an accent light. This wasn't a light designed to brighten a room. This was a sign light. So it's not like it illuminated the whole room. There's somebody that actually did a stream to show you what the illumination was.
Well,
and when you were coming out of Zaina's room, you were walking into a gradually lit hallway, and you would have adjusted. By the time you got into the room where that thing was, there's no way you would have been able to see where you were going.
The one thing with you saying that, Sarge, that makes me wonder now is as whoever this was, if this is true, was walking past that neon sign, I kind of have one behind me. It's a little bit like that. And if I stand near that thing, it does kind of illuminate my vision, which blurs things a little bit for me. So he may not have seen her because of that. Okay.
But he was experiencing that light from Zaina's hallway all the way to the doorway leading over to the end of the
No, he was not.
No.
All the way from the end of that hallway.
Yeah.
Which is literally he's almost to the stairs, in my opinion.
He had to come out of her room, up a hallway that included a banister that protected a downward staircase. He had to come past that staircase, make a right, and head towards that light.
Well, that light is
the living room. He had to cross the whole living room, which would have been lightly illuminated as he was traveling through there.
Well, that light is right there hanging on the wall at the end of Zaina's. Yeah, okay. I was just clarifying.
That room would have had a minimal illumination, not a bright like 100-watt bulb pounding on you. A minimal illumination throughout the whole room. So, in other words, he should be able to have navigated and seen where he was walking. No problem. And we didn't hear him trip or walk into a couch or hit a coffee table or, right? We didn't see him do that, did we?
No.
Okay. I think that it's possible that light could have done something. I just think, unfortunately, that it's a leap to have all these different reasons. Something that she told us can be a fact. You've got to jump through hoops to get her. What's the 8-hour delay for?
Well, that's the biggest issue right there, and I still have issues with her opening her door 3 different times.
Yeah, because she's fucking lying. I'm sorry, bitches are nosy, and you know damn good and well you would have went out there to see what the hell was going on. I don't care what nobody says, unless you were already scared because you knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm. That's my exact point. Because
you're referring to who are you referring to in this?
Dylan.
Yeah, I agree with
you. There's no way. And then even after it's over, you don't leave the room. If you're too scared to leave the room to check on your friends,
I don't believe that either.
Why weren't the cops called?
Well, why wasn't her room checked out once the perpetrator came down the stairs? I mean, the door's
when
there.
he first walks in the damn house, he literally walks into her door.
Right up there. Exactly. Why was that door never touched by anybody but Dylan?
Bingo.
And I'm not saying the girl did it, but what I am saying, if you take the exact facts that we used to try to say Koberger did it and you put Dylan in there, those facts line up way better with her than they do with Koberger. And that's tragic. Now the house is gone, right?
Yep.
And I don't know what her deal is. I hope she didn't do it. I got to tell you, she didn't do it. Obviously, she did not because she's never been charged with it.
Well,
so she clearly didn't do it as far as
right. Now, one other thing that I have an issue with this whole thing that we're talking about right now, it was clearly stated that her and Bethany were talking back and forth. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what Gonsalves says, that they were texting during.
Or during too, yeah. Right. Okay. So there's that. After believing that the suspect has left the scene, I cannot for the life of me, and I will never believe that they did not walk out into that house together to see what the hell all the noise was about after this person left. Okay? I can't believe that. I just can't. Because I know me.
Can I also say that this is something that's never been pointed out. So this is an exclusive on Your Ass Hurts News Network. Is that we don't know that any of the phone or communication or things that Bethany or Dylan did were even presented to the grand jury. If you remember, Gonclave stayed out and said all they did was add more confusion.
Yep.
So if the prosecutor gets to pick and choose what he shows the jury, in fact, the time delay and all the other questions, especially since they mentioned the phones in the PCA, was that information given to a grand jury and reviewed? It doesn't look like it, because they ended up getting what they wanted out of everything to this point. So I think that there's probably something I think that's where the exculpatory evidence comes from.
Gotcha.
Right? I mean, we seem to think Bethany saw something. How do we know there wasn't a text that isn't exculpatory and unique to her because it was sent to her from Dylan? Who else would have that text but her? That makes it unique, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
So if I send you a text that only to you and you're the only one that has it, that's a unique thing to Dago. If I claim Dago's got exculpatory evidence that's unique to him and only he can testify to.
Or if in that texting that Bethany saw something else outside of her window or something, and that's what the text said.
Wait. Listen, this is why I love talking to you people. My mind just starts to expand on stuff. In the statement that only she could testify to it means that it would be third-party information without her.
Right.
Okay? And you can't present third-party information.
No.
It's not admissible in court. Therefore, whatever Bethany saw, whatever's unique to her, only she can talk to. It can't be presented independently of her, or it would be hearsay. That may, in fact, make us see something we haven't seen yet, that the hearsay comes from whatever was on them phones.
Absolutely.
And it's not just what Bethany saw, it's what she heard.
Yeah, saw it, heard. It was unique to her, right? That word is very important to that, by the way, you guys, and you know this already, Sarge, but it's when it says in there that it's unique to her, it's only about involving her. That's the thing. So
right.
That's real important.
I had to say that before anybody else, because none of you were going to say it. But that whole process of deduction was brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say, you are the most egotistical bastard I think I've ever met. The reason you like talking, hold on.
In another life, I could have loved you.
The reason that you like talking to us is because we make your brain work. Not that we have good input, not that you enjoy what the fuck we have to say. But
listen,
just because
I not only listen to what you say, I actually engage you on it. So don't even go there.
It's because we're smart and you can't handle it, Sarge.
Oh, well, that's okay. I don't mind that. I'll take that. I'll be the dumb one in the room. I have no problem.
I didn't
with
say
that.
you were dumb. I said you were
However,
smart.
I will point out for the I will say this rather than just print it on a screen. That deduction of unique exculpatory evidence that she would have, I think I came up with a brilliant synopsis of what it potentially may be.
Sure, I can agree. I can agree.
Thanks there, Clue.
I think your ass hurts.
I think I hurt everybody's ass in here except mine.
This is a special edition. It's going on 2 hours, folks.
Yeah, see what happens when you get long-winded Dago on your panel?
Yeah, because Clue doesn't talk long.
Long-winded Dago. I ain't said hardly shit, so hush your
But
face.
that is an interesting synopsis of what Bethany, because we've all been talking about what she saw.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a black man or a naked man or but now when you think about how they're saying that she can participate, only unique to her, and what does it say? Only she can talk to it or something? Do we have that
Unique, her experiences are unique to her.
Bingo.
What she saw, it's what she saw and what she heard
is unique only to her.
Right.
Which is very interesting if you think about it. I don't understand. Well, that could explain why it's been avoided so much. very clearly why.
We may never know. If this goes the way I suspect it's going to go, and they can't show Koberger's car with any convincing video footage, then I think this case is done. And I think the issue of the DNA, I don't think that would be that's what I think it's going to boil down to. They're going to demand that they're going to try to stick with this and try to say the DNA proves it, even if their videos were wrong. We got his DNA. That's what it's going to come down to. And it's going to come down to whether the judge will accept transfer DNA as a basis to, try a guy for 4 homicides.
Julie, real quick. I'm sorry, hon. Kaylee had a Land Rover. It wasn't an Odyssey, and there was her other vehicle had been traded in on that. So that was the only vehicle of hers that was there. Just so you're not confused on that. That's all. Xana had the blue Ford
Honda.
Or a Honda. It was a Honda. That's right. The Jeep belonged to the Chapins, and the white car was Maddie's, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Sherlock trying to be a smartass, or is Sherlock trying to quote Dot like Dot was factual?
Well, Dylan did it. Does that mean Dylan was also smoking weed on the back porch? No, I mean, you understand that was almost all bullshit, Sherlock.
That came from that crazy broad Dot. She
Yeah.
changed that story 3 times in one stream with Rory, me, Golf.
Me.
Yeah, were you in there? I don't know.
Me and CJ did her first, and then everybody else folded in with it the next couple days. So, yeah, that's bullshit. That whole story was bullshit. I'm sorry.
And that was such an epic ass hurting episode that even Paramount picked it up.
Yeah.
And they actually put Sarge up there.
Well, it just goes to show you that when I say things like I did today, for those of you who are, awesome enough to watch me, when I say things like people don't vet these people that come up on their panels, they're fucking idiots.
Yeah. Well, this person was vetted by people that were supposed to know people.
Huh?
Right? This person Dot was vetted by some other creators. And
exactly.
And then telling people that she was for real. And I heard what she had to say third party, and I was like, yeah, okay.
We proved it
was. And then she came in and she lied. She changed her story up, and
we proved it was. We showed her everything and all her TikTok stuff. So it's I don't even care about that anymore.
Yeah, she's done. And that woman was just a nightmare. And my big issue with this WSU Kim was she was always working to get herself in her face on Paramount. And I don't suspect that even if her information is accurate, that it does mean a whole lot, except it is kind of nasty to suggest that these kids knew early in the morning that these young kids were dead. And there wasn't anybody questioning why there was no police at the house. Where's the ambulance? So you mean to tell me all these college students were that ignorant, that inept, that stupid to know that there's a multiple homicide in that house?
I'm not going to say that's not possible. Sorry.
I think it's unlikely. I mean, the idea this woman comes forward and tells us that everybody knew her. She had text on Snapchat that gets disappeared the minute you read it, right? That was her story. It was on Snapchat. That's why she couldn't prove that she actually got that text message.
You can pull Snapchat. They can be pulled if you take it to a place. They can be done. I even told her how to do it.
Did she ever show the Snapchat where her daughter was notified that by friend?
She refuses. I've spent hours, days, weeks trying to get her to prove it. Just get everybody out of her ass about that. She refuses to do it. So I told her that tells everybody it's not true, Kim. That's what the answer is going to be. No matter what you think or what anybody else says, that tells everybody it never happened. That's all I can tell you for that, and that's that.
Not to mention she was so in fear for her safety, but then goes on a fucking show that Paramount Plus runs. Yeah, you know that bitch is full of shit.
Yes.
I blocked that. She's one of the there were a few people I blocked. I don't even know who Angel D is, by the way. Is she? I don't even know who she is. Is she somebody I should know?
She's followed.
Yeah, she comes in my channel all the time.
Right.
But you didn't block Kim. I did.
Oh,
she came in here?
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And she said something that upset the master, so I had to block her.
Uh-oh. Master Sarge, you got a
See,
second.
that's another thing. You see, now, Julie's, there's nothing wrong with thinking something like that, but there's no evidence to support that. And
What'd she
believe
say?
it, so here's, this is kind of a thing. It's an exercise I'm going to do often. I believe is their cars were not in the driveway. I feel that DF were not home that night.
They didn't have cars.
What I believe is, now listen.
That's actually not true.
Well, wait. Let me cover this. The word believe is a problem here, and the word feel. Okay, those two words are not words that you use when you're thinking. Those are two words that you use to stop yourself from thinking and accept some idea in place of what may be the truth. Now, your idea could be accurate, but you can't prove your idea, and so you believe in this idea. And that's the problem with information. You're never supposed to handle it that way. There is not a single piece of information that indicates their cars were not present or that indicates they were not present. And there's all the information showing you that they were. And when you deal with knowledge, you have to accept that. You don't have to like it. Doesn't mean you can't think that they weren't there. But the issue is you have no way to support that as a fact. And so don't accept it as a fact. Fine to write it down somewhere or consider it, but they were home. Everything tells us they were home.
And I will say that the private investigator or whatever, Richard Batanti or whatever, he definitely states that Bethany was home at the time of the murders.
Okay. Yeah. So I know police are corrupt, and I know we always, a lot of us are think that they're lying to us all the time. They may be, but the fact of the facts that we have don't lend any evidence to support that.
I agree. They were definitely there.
Right. Look, I'm not saying some of these possibilities people throw out there are false, but it's hard to even discuss a narrative like that because there's no supporting evidence other than you feel or believe. And I feel tired. I think someone just yawned.
Yeah, you guys are boring me. Bye.
What do you mean? Wait a minute. That just ain't nice.
She's just an asshat, that's all.
My God, I can't wait for the next eclipse. So much hidden and unknown. I need to see it all the trial. I don't think you're ever going to be able to see it all the trial.
We won't. We probably won't even see half of it, Donnie.
Who's Kim Holmes?
She's in the chat.
Who is that?
I don't know. She follows. She's been in my channel. She follows Clue's channel.
Oh. All I heard is my name, and I was like, huh? No, we're not talking about it's WSU Kim. That Kim Holmes isn't WSU Kim, is it?
No.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, listen, this has been fun. There you go. I appreciate the company. And you have yourself a good night.
Absolutely, sir. Everybody else have a great night. Sarge, great show. Thank you for having me. And
thanks for everyone that showed up, all the audience across 3 platforms.
One more thing, if I can.
Sure. Oh, see? Everybody steals Sarge's thunder. They got to hang up on me. Of all people, where's that comment brilliant? Why would you hang up on brilliant? I need to find that comment in the stream with the word brilliant. Maybe I'll just spell it again, which I may not be able to get correct. Hang on. There we go. Now we look at new comments and look at it. They hung up on the brilliant Sarge. How dare they? Be good, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow night at 9 o'clock.